Have you ever been judged by the scars on your hands, the wear on your boots, or the rust on your weapon, only to know deep down that you're more than what they see? At ValorPeak Range in Arizona, under a blazing 2025 sun, a lone woman walked into a den of elite marksmen, her rusted rifle a beacon for their scorn. They laughed, their voices sharp as the desert wind, unaware that they were about to face a legend. Welcome to Daily Narrated Stories, where we uncover tales of resilience that hit harder than a bullseye. Today, Clara Hensley's story will leave you breathless. Let's step into her world. The ValorPeak Range stood like a fortress in the Arizona desert, its steel lanes gleaming with the weight of prestige. This wasn't a public range. It was a semi-military stronghold where retired generals swapped war stories, defense tycoons sealed million-dollar deals, and heirs to military legacies tested rifles worth more than a soldier's pension. The air was thick with the scent of gun, oil, and ambition. The 1,000-meter sniper zone, a proving ground for the elite. On this scorching Saturday, unspoken rules governed the space. Show your worth or leave in shame. The crowd buzzed with tailored arrogance, their crisp uniforms and polished optics a stark contrast to the desert's raw expanse. Serena Whitlock, 27, daughter of Defense Undersecretary Malcolm Whitlock, stood out, her sleek Vortex S-900 badge of privilege, its barrel glinting like her ambition. But a lone figure drew their stares, a woman, uninvited, stepping through the heat haze like a mirage. Clara Hensley, 29, moved with quiet purpose, her faded cargo pants sagging, her cracked leather jacket whispering of hard years, and her scuffed boots bearing the dust of countless trails. Her dark hair was pulled back, framing a face of understated resolve, green eyes steady with a fire that didn't need to roar, lips set in a line of unshakable determination. On her shoulder rested a rusted Winchester M77, its stock wrapped in faded burlap tape, its scope scratched and plain. No tactical headset, no ballistic watch, just a dented ammo tin swinging at her side, its hand-loaded rounds dull with age. The whispers sliced through the air like shrapnel. "What's that, a farmer's hand-me-down?" sneered Marcus Drayton, 52, a defense magnate with a Virginia mansion, his voice dripping with disdain. "Bet it misfires," scoffed Lieutenant Ethan Warwick, 30, gripping his custom-built Precision Elite, his smirk as sharp as his aim. A nervous staffer, clipboard trembling, muttered under her breath, "She looks like she's here to sweep the floors." Clara's green eyes swept the lanes, her fingers grazing the burlap tape. The desert's heartbeat her only welcome, a steady pulse that grounded her amidst the storm of judgment. The mockery surged as Clara approached the registration table, her ammo tin tucked under her arm, the weight of their stares pressing against her. Captain Nathaniel Brooks, 42, a regional shooting champion with a salt and pepper beard, squinted with a smirk that barely hid his contempt. "Ma'am, the break room's over there," he quipped, pointing dismissively as if she were an intruder in their sacred space. Clara slid a faded invitation letter across the table, its edges yellowed, signed by a retired range master who'd seen her worth years ago. Brooks skimmed it, his grin widening into something cruel. "All right then, head to the kiddie lane." The crowd erupted, trainees howling with laughter, their voices a cacophony of derision. "Antique piece," Serena jeered, her blonde hair glinting in the sun, her words a venomous barb. "No tech, no style. She looks like she crawled out of a dumpster." Clara opened her ammo tin, each round polished with care despite the jeers, her fingers steady as she loaded the Winchester, the metallic click a quiet defiance. The desert wind howled, its dry breath grazing her skin, as if whispering encouragement. Serena waved the letter mockingly, her voice sharp with privilege. "No family crest here, probably a fake." A cadet sneered, his tone biting. "What's her pedigree?" "Stable hand." Marcus laughed, his glass of bourbon raised in a toast to her failure. "No officer's blood, no right to shoot." The crowd chanted, "No name, no fame," their voices a rising tide of scorn. A staffer muttered, "She's got no ground to stand on." her words a final dismissal. Clara tucked the letter into her jacket, her fingers tracing the burlap tape, the desert's heat pulsing like a drum in her veins, a rhythm that steadied her against their cruelty. The crowd's elitism was a jagged blade, slicing through the air, each word a lash meant to break her spirit. Brooks stepped forward, his custom sentinel gleaming, his voice a thunderclap that silenced the murmurs. "Think you can shoot 1,000 meters? I'll fire 10 rounds. Score over 50, and I'll salute you in front of everyone." The crowd roared, bets scrawled on a whiteboard. $50 she misses, $100 she quits. The number's a cruel tally of their confidence in her failure. Clara's reply was a whisper, steady as stone, her voice cutting through their noise. "I'm not here to compete. I just want one clean run." Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then laughter exploded, a tidal wave of mockery. Ethan smirked, "She's delusional." Marcus raised his glass, toasting Brooks' inevitable victory, the amber liquid catching the sunlight like a taunt. In the range's bunker, during a pre-shoot briefing, the elite shunned Clara, their rejection a palpable wall. As Brooks reviewed the rules, Serena and her clique turned their backs, whispering loudly, "Keep the drifter away." Her rifles cursed. Trainees laughed, shielding their gear as if her presence might taint their polished weapons. Ethan added, his voice a sneer, "She's here to steal our casings." A trainee tossed a mock janitor's badge at Clara's feet, labeled Cleanup Crew, the paper fluttering to the sand like a cruel joke. Clara picked it up, her fingers brushing the burlap tape, the desert's hum her only solace. Her heart must have ached, the isolation a heavy stone in her chest, but her green eyes never wavered, her resolve a quiet fire burning brighter with each insult. Clara faced a gear check overseen by Brooks and Miriam Tate, 48, a range official tied to the Whitlocks, her loyalty to power as clear as her disdain. Miriam, at Brooks' nod, inspected Clara's Winchester with a grimace, muttering, "This scrap's a danger, probably explodes." She accidentally knocked Clara's ammo tin, scattering rounds into the sand, the brass glinting like fallen stars. Serena called out, her voice dripping with sarcasm, "Don't ruin the museum piece." Brooks smirked, denying Clara time to recover, his tone cold. "Rules are rules. Move on." Clara knelt, gathering her rounds, her cargo pants smudged with sand, her fingers steady as if the desert itself guided her. The unfairness must have stung, a bitter taste in her mouth, but she pressed on, her movements a silent testament to her strength. Miriam targeted Clara's youth to undermine her, scoffing loudly. "She's barely 30. What's she done? Shot bottles in a field." Ethan laughed, his voice a cruel echo. "Bet she's never seen a real range." Marcus added, his tone dismissive, "Kids don't belong in the sniper zone." Spectators jeered, chanting, "Go home, newbie." Their voices a rising storm. A staffer muttered, "She's too raw for ValorPeak." Her words a final dismissal. Clara adjusted her scope, her green eyes steady, the burlap tape rough under her fingers, its texture a reminder of her father's lessons. Hours spent in Wyoming's rugged plains, his voice steady. "Feel the wind, Clara. Let it guide you." The weight of their words pressed down, but she stood tall, her focus a shield against their scorn. As Clara walked to her firing lane, a group of trainees, egged on by Ethan, crowded her to intimidate, their presence a physical threat. Ethan stepped close, his rifle slung low, smirking, "Careful, don't trip over that scrap heap." Two trainees bumped her shoulders, nearly spilling her ammo tin again, the brass clinking ominously. The crowd laughed, chanting, "Clumsy wanderer." Marcus clapped, his voice booming, "Give her space to fail." Serena sneered, her eyes glinting with malice. "She's trembling already." A staffer muttered, "She doesn't belong here." Her words a quiet betrayal. Clara steadied her tin, her green eyes fixed on the lane ahead, the desert's heat her only armor. The physical aggression must have sent a jolt of fear through her, but she moved forward, her steps deliberate, her resolve unshaken. At a pre-shoot coffee stand, the mockery turned personal, the air thick with the scent of espresso and cruelty. Marcus, sipping whiskey, leaned toward a mogul and sneered, "Look at her pants, burlap tape." "But she's never seen a mirror." Serena laughed, her voice sharp. "She's aiming for rugged, but it's just pathetic. No wonder she's alone." A trainee added, his tone mocking, "Decent face, but that outfit screams vagrant." The laughter spread, glasses clinking as they toasted ValorPeak's superiority, their privilege a shield against empathy. Clara, adjusting her rifle nearby, heard every word, her fingers tightening on the burlap tape, the desert's pulse her only rhythm. The sting of their words must have cut deep, a reminder of every time she'd been underestimated, but she held her ground, her silence a quiet storm. Marcus started a public wager to amplify Clara's shame, slapping a wad of cash on a table, shouting, "1,000 says she doesn't score above 20. Serena tossed in a sapphire necklace, her voice gleeful. "Double if she flees in tears." Cadets scribbled bets on a whiteboard. Mrs. All, $200, the number's a cruel tally of their confidence. Spectators cheered, snapping photos of the board, laughing, "This'll be quick." The staff pinned the whiteboard near Clara's lane, smirking. The bet's a public humiliation. Clara saw it, her fingers tracing the Winchester stock, the desert wind a steady hum in her ears. The greed in their bets must have felt like a noose, tightening with each laugh, but her focus never faltered. During a break in the bunker, Serena and Marcus spread vicious rumors to tarnish Clara's reputation, their voices carrying through the concrete walls. Serena whispered loudly to officers, "She's probably a thief, sneaking in with that forged letter." Marcus nodded, his tone conspiratorial, or a runaway hiding from her past with that junk gun. Trainees shouted, "Traitor in the ranks," their voices a rising chant. The rumor spread, some scribbling thief sniper on the whiteboard, the words a scarlet letter. Spectators hissed, "Check her records." A staffer murmured, "She's suspicious," her words a quiet complicity. Clara, cleaning her scope nearby, heard the whispers, her fingers steady on the scratched lens, the desert's hum her only refuge. The slander must have burned, a betrayal of her silent honor, but she remained unshaken, her focus a quiet blade. Brooks shot first, his sentinel steady. The crowd hushed, their breaths held in anticipation. Shot 110, bullseye, the crack echoing like a judge's gavel. Shot 2-9, shot 3-9. The sequence continued, each crack precise, his breathing measured, a machine of perfection. Final score, 96 out of 100. Cheers erupted, trainees chanting, "Brooks, Brooks!" Their voices a rising tide of adulation. Some uploaded the result to a military forum, officers nodding approval, their respect a currency Brooks craved. He turned, smirking at Clara, his voice a challenge. "Your turn, drifter girl. Don't waste our time." Serena clapped, laughing, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Marcus shouted, "She'll need a miracle." The pressure must have been crushing. The scoreboard's glow a challenge Clara couldn't ignore, its red numbers a silent taunt. Clara lay flat, her rusted Winchester steady, the 1,000-meter target a distant speck, shimmering in the heat. No spotter, no wind meter, just her, the rifle, and the desert's whisper. She adjusted her wrists, her cheek against the worn wood. The burlap tape a tactile anchor, its rough texture a memory of her father's hands wrapping it years ago. Murmurs spread like wildfire, the crowd's confidence wavering. "That scope's ancient." She didn't even adjust her elevation. "Where's she aiming?" The uncertainty in their voices must have been a small victory for Clara, a crack in their armor as she prepared to fire, her green eyes locked on the target, her breath steady. Ethan led the crowd in mocking gestures to disrupt her, pretending to aim a rusted rifle, stumbling dramatically, shouting, "Oops, missed the target." Serena mimicked her wrist adjustment, giggling. Is she stretching for defeat? Cadets wave signs reading "Scrapyard Shooter," tossing paper wads toward Clara's position, the litter a petty assault. Marcus laughed, his voice booming. "Keep it up, she'll crack." A staffer muttered, "She's no match for this." Her words a quiet betrayal. Clara cracked her wrists, the gestures a distant blur, her green eyes locked on the target's speck, the desert's pulse her only focus. The mockery must have felt like a storm, each jeer a gust meant to topple her. But her focus was a lighthouse in the chaos, unwavering. Ethan mocked her silence to paint her as weak, strutting past, shouting, "No words? Guess she's terrified." Serena laughed, her voice sharp, silent because she's got nothing to prove. Trainees chanted, "Speak up, coward," their voices a rising tide. Some mimicked her calm demeanor, slouching dramatically, yelling, "Too shy to shoot." Marcus clapped, "She's breaking inside." A staffer muttered, "Silence means defeat," her words a final dismissal. Clara adjusted her rifle, her green eyes steady, the burlap tape grounding her, the desert's pulse her only voice. The twisting of her strength into weakness must have stung, a bitter reminder of past doubts. But she let her actions speak, her silence a weapon of its own. Right before Miriam's introduction, Marcus led the crowd in mocking Clara's solitude to isolate her further, raising his glass, shouting, "No friends, no squad. Guess nobody wants her." Serena smirked, her voice cutting. "She's a loner because she's a failure. Tranes chanted, solo shooter, solo flop. Their voices a cruel rhythm." Some tossed empty coffee cups toward her lane, yelling, "Go shoot alone," the litter of petty assault. A staffer muttered, "She's got no one to back her," her words a quiet complicity. Clara lay prone, her cheek against the Winchester, the crowd's taunts fading to the desert's hum, her fingers steady on the trigger. The isolation must have been a cold weight, a reminder of lonely nights in Wyoming, but she found warmth in her purpose, her father's lessons a quiet echo. Miriam grabbed the microphone, framing Clara as a joke, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she announced, introducing Clara Hensley with her vintage rifle. For entertainment's sake, let's cheer her effort. The crowd roared, shouting pity points. Ethan yelled, "Don't break the range." Marcus added, "Give her a participation trophy," their voices a rising tide of mockery. Operators zoomed cameras on Clara's Winchester, snickering, the lenses a cold scrutiny. Clara lay prone, her cheek against the stock, the crowd's noise fading to the desert's pulse, her fingers steady on the trigger. The official mockery must have been a final blow, a public shaming meant to break her. But Clara's focus was unbreakable, her green eyes a quiet storm. The range fell silent, the desert winds howl the only sound, a mournful cry that seemed to hold its breath. Clara breathed deeply, her chest rising, her ears attuned to the air's rhythm, the crunch of sand beneath her, the hum of the digital board in the distance. She fired. The crack split the air, sharp and final, like a thunderclap in the stillness, the sound reverberating through the range. The digital board flashed, 10, bullseye, dead center. The crowd's laughter choked, their faces frozen, their glasses slipping from trembling hands. Shot 2. Same rhythm, same precision, her body a statue. 10, splitting the same hole, the target a testament to her skill. Spectators stood still, their breaths held, the air thick with disbelief. Shot 310. Shot 410. Shot 510. After Clara's 5th bullseye, the crowd's jeers turned to trembling awe, their hands shaking as her precision sank in, a dawning realization that they'd misjudged her. Marcus, his whiskey glass slipping, stared, his face pale, his fingers twitching as if grasping for his lost bets, the weight of his arrogance crumbling. Serena clutched her vortex, her blonde hair limp, her eyes wide as the scoreboard's red glow burned them, a searing judgment. Cadets dropped their signs, their laughter replaced by silence, their faces ashen, the scrapyard shooter, labels a bitter irony. A staffer muttered, "She's not shooting, she's rewriting the range," her voice a whisper of awe. Clara's cheek pressed against the Winchester, the desert's pulse her rhythm, her focus a quiet blade, cutting through their doubt. After her sixth bullseye, the crowd fell into worshipful silence, their mockery replaced by reverence, a shift as palpable as the desert heat. Marcus Whiskey Glass sat untouched, his hands trembling, his eyes locked on the scoreboard's red glow, the numbers a silent rebuke. Serena gripped her vortex, her fingers unsteady, her face pale as if the desert itself judged her, her privilege a hollow shield. Trainees dropped their thief sniper signs, their chants silenced, their heads bowed in respect. A staffer whispered, "She's a phantom, a myth," her voice tinged with reverence. Clara's cheek pressed against the Winchester, the desert's pulse her rhythm, her aim a silent oath, a promise kept to her father's memory. Shots 6 through 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, each round a needle through the bullseye's heart, the target a canvas of her precision. Colonel Harold Grayson, 78, his face weathered like the desert itself, muttered, "She's hearing the wind like shadow unit days," his voice a quiet reverence. A defense analyst, Nora Bennett, 40, whispered, "That's pulse rhythm." Lost to training, her words a dawning realization. The shots built a crescendo of awe, each crack a testament to Clara's skill, her green eyes steady, her fingers tracing the burlap tape as memories of her father's lessons in Wyoming's Badlands flashed through her mind. His voice, steady and warm. "Feel the wind, Clara. Let it guide you." Shot 10. Clara exhaled, held her breath, and fired, her heartbeat syncing with the desert's pulse. The crack echoed, a final note in her symphony of skill, the board flashing 10. All 10 rounds overlapped in a 1.2 centimeters cluster, a feat of precision that defied belief. The scoreboard flashed red. Record tied, 100 to 100, 1.2 centimeters grouping at 1,000 meters. The cadets, once mocking, stood in salute, their rifles lowered, their faces pale with reverence. Ethan, his hands unsteady, removed his cap, his eyes fixed on the scoreboard's 100, the number a silent apology. A cadet whispered, "She's the silent raven." We were blind, his voice a mix of awe and shame. Their scrapyard shooter, signs lay crumpled in the sand, their bravado gone, replaced by respect. The staff, once complicit, bowed their heads, their clipboards forgotten, their judgment a bitter lesson. Clara rose, slinging her Winchester, the desert's heat her only applause, her green eyes steady, a quiet storm calmed. The entire range froze, the air thick with disbelief, the silence a heavy shroud. From the back row, Harold Grayson stood, his hands shaking, eyes welling with tears of recognition. "Dear God, Clara Hensley, the silent raven," he said, his voice trembling. Silence gripped the crowd, a collective breath held. He raised his voice, the words a revelation. "She's the only sniper in U.S. military history to ground 19 enemy drones using a long-range rifle in a single classified operation." At 19. She vanished after a blast scarred her, her records erased from every archive. The revelation hit like a shockwave. Clara's past a supernova that illuminated her quiet strength, her scars a map of her valor. Brooks staggered, his hands gripping his sentinel, his knuckles white, the weight of his mistake a physical burden. Serena turned away, her fingers fumbling with her phone, the scoreboard's glow searing her eyes, a burning reminder of her cruelty. Nora Bennett stood stunned, her voice a whisper, her Winchester's hand-modified, no GPS, no digital scopes. She shoots by sound, air pressure, pulse rhythm. That technique was erased from training, deemed impossible. The crowd whispered. We didn't recognize her. Their voices tinged with regret, their arrogance crumbling under the weight of Clara's legacy, a mirror to their flaws. In the aftermath, Brooks stepped forward, his voice trembling, his sentinel set aside, a symbol of his humbled pride. "I challenged Clara Hensley and was wrong," he said, facing the crowd, his word a confession. "She's the standard I'll never touch." Officers turned away, his reputation shattered, his regional championship a footnote in the shadow of Clara's skill. The scoreboard's glow framed his humbled figure, his hands shaking, the light a silent judge. Clara, packing her rifle, met his gaze, her green eyes steady, not cruel, her focus on the desert horizon, a quiet forgiveness in her silence. News spread of his rule reforms, a quiet penance after Grayson's reveal, a step toward redemption. Trainees from international ranges, present as observers, knelt in respect, their rifles lowered, their earlier jeers forgotten. A French sniper whispered, "The silent raven. She's our legend too," his voice a quiet reverence. A Korean trainee replaced his patch with a hand-drawn raven's eye, their faces glowing with awe, the transformation a testament to Clara's impact. The crowd watched, stunned, as global respect elevated Clara's myth, her skill a bridge across borders. Clara packed her rifle, her green eyes steady, the burlap tape her anchor, the desert's hum a quiet song, a melody of triumph. A military-grade SUV roared up, dust swirling like a storm, the sound a sudden jolt in the silence. General Victor Langston, 54, Chief of U.S. Special Operations, stepped out, his four-star uniform gleaming, a beacon of authority. He walked through the stunned crowd, removed his sunglasses, and bowed to Clara, the gesture a profound honor. "I'm not here for duty today. I'm here to pick up my wife," he said, his voice a low rumble, the words a revelation that silenced the crowd. He addressed them, his tone a thunderclap. "You mocked a woman who redefined precision. Her silence was your lesson. You failed it." The crowd shrank, their faces ashen, security saluting behind him, their respect a sharp contrast to the crowd's shame. Serena's phone slipped from her hands, her eyes avoiding Langston's gaze, her privilege a hollow shield. Brooks gripped his sentinel, his confidence shattered, the weight of his mistake a crushing burden. Langston pinned a shadow unit medal on Clara's jacket, his voice firm, "For unmatched valor, Clara Hensley, the silent raven." The crowd gasped, security saluting sharply, the gesture a ripple of respect. Serena's sapphire necklace fell to the sand, her eyes avoiding the medal's glint, its shine a judgment. Brooks' sentinel felt heavy, his hands unsteady, his championship a shadow in the light of Clara's honor. Clara accepted the medal, her fingers grazing the burlap tape, the desert's pulse her father's echo, a memory of his voice, steady and proud. "You're my raven, Clara. Fly true." The moment was a crescendo, her triumph a beacon for every underestimated soul. Clara stood beside Langston, the desert's pulse her anchor, her green eyes soft with memory. Her father's lessons in the Badlands, the feel of the wind, the rhythm of her pulse. They'd carried her through that covert mission at 19, through the blast that scarred her, and now, through this moment of vindication. Her triumph wasn't just hers. It was a mirror for anyone who'd ever felt the sting of doubt, a reminder that true strength doesn't need a spotlight, but shines brightest in the shadows. In 2026, Marcus faced a brutal fallout at a defense expo, the consequences of his cruelty a bitter harvest. Clients withdrew, whispering he mocked the silent raven, their voices a quiet condemnation. His contracts vanished, his mansion sold, his name tied to Clara's humiliation, a stain he couldn't erase. Officers shunned him, his whiskey glass replaced by stale tea, the taste a bitter reminder of his fall. Marcus stared a news report of Clara's statue, his hands trembling, his wealth a hollow shell, his arrogance a lesson learned too late. Clara, unaware, trained young shooters in Wyoming, her legacy untouched, her focus on the future, not the past. Clara's past emerged in fragments, pieced together by stunned analysts, a puzzle of valor and sacrifice. Born in Wyoming's rugged plains, she grew up in a cabin, her father a Gulf War sniper who taught her to shoot by pulse and wind, his lessons a lifeline in the wild. At 15, she hit a penny at 500 meters, her aim a natural gift. At 17, She joined a covert shadow unit operation, her youth a weapon in the shadows. In 2015, at 19, she grounded 19 enemy drones in a Pacific mission, a feat unmatched, her skill a legend whispered in classified circles. A blast scarred her, her records buried, her identity erased, a ghost in the system. She met Langston in 2018, a rising general, their bond forged in quiet understanding. They married quietly, her past a secret, her scars a map of her courage. Her fingers traced the burlap tape, the desert's pulse her father's echo, a steady rhythm that carried her through. ValorPeak was her return, a silent tribute to him, a promise kept. In 2026, Serena faced exile at a defense summit, her cruelty a boomerang that struck hard. Invitations dried up, peers whispering she insulted Hensley, their voices a quiet judgment. Her father, Malcolm Whitlock, publicly rebuked her, his voice firm, "Clara Hensley is our honor. My daughter misjudged her." Serena's sapphire necklace was sold, her socialite career dead, her hands clutching a faded invite, the paper a relic of her fall. Officers turned away, her name a cautionary tale, her privilege a hollow shield. Clara, unaware, trained in Wyoming, her camps thriving, her focus on the next generation. News framed Serena's fall as justice. Her cruelty returned, a lesson in humility. In 2027, Miriam's sabotage of Clara's ammo, caught on camera, led to her ruin, the evidence a damning verdict. ValorPeak banned her, her consulting firm collapsed, her name tied to the Hensley disgrace, a stain she couldn't erase. Colleagues shunned her, her office empty, her hands gripping a rejected bid, the paper a symbol of her failure. News reports framed her fall as the cost of mocking a legend, a bitter harvest of her malice. Clara, unaware, taught in Wyoming, her legacy untouched, her focus on her students, not her enemies. The consequences of their actions were a mirror, reflecting the power of Clara's quiet strength, a lesson etched in their downfall. In 2027, ValorPeak unveiled a plaque, Clara Hensley, Silent Raven, 100/100, the words a permanent honor. In 2028, a bronze statue rose, Clara prone, mid-shot, Winchester raised, inscribed, Raven's aim, the figure a symbol of precision. A retired general spoke, his voice steady. Clara Hensley didn't shoot, she redefined precision. Students from her Wyoming camps laid rounds at the statue's base, a sniper's tribute, their respect a quiet echo of her impact. By 2029, ranges worldwide adopted her pulse rhythm technique, dubbed Raven's aim, the method a revolution in sniping. Manuals cited her ValorPeak shots, her name a cornerstone of training. Instructors at a sniper symposium bowed to her statue, saying, "Hensley taught us the wind," their voices a quiet reverence. In 2029, ValorPeak statue of Clara, broadcast globally, showed snipers from China, Argentina, and Australia lowering their rifles, their voices hushed. Hensley's aim is our doctrine. Her Wyoming campers watched online, laying rounds at their range's replica statue, their respect a quiet tribute. A general declared, Clara Hensley rewrote warfare, his words a final stamp on her legacy. Clara, coaching, saw a camper hit a bullseye, her green eyes soft, the burlap tape her father's echo, a steady rhythm that carried her through. Her journey, from a mocked outsider to a global legend, was a testament to resilience, a reminder that true strength doesn't need a spotlight, but shines brightest in shadows. Clara's story is a mirror for us all, a reminder that courage isn't loud, but a quiet resolve that rises above judgment, letting actions speak louder than words. Her triumph at ValorPeak wasn't just a victory over her mockers. It was a beacon for anyone who's ever been underestimated, a call to find strength in the shadows, to let your truth be your voice. Think of a time you were judged unfairly. How did you rise above it? Share your story in the comments. Let's inspire each other with our resilience, building a community of strength through the power of shared stories. Clara, coaching in Wyoming, watched a girl hit a target, her green eyes soft, her fingers tracing the burlap tape. The deserts echo her peace, a quiet harmony with her past. Harold Grayson spoke at the unveiling, his voice a quiet reverence. She shot for truth, not us. Clara, absent, learned of it via a camper's note, her fingers steady on her Winchester. The deserts pulse her truth, a steady rhythm that carried her through. Her legacy, carried by the daily Narrated Stories channel, continues to inspire, reminding us that the greatest stories are those that uplift and empower, that show us the power of resilience. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, comment your thoughts, and share this story before it fades into the desert wind. Let's make daily Narrated Stories the home of life-changing tales. Your support can change everything, and the time to act is now. Clara left the range, Langston's hand in hers, the scoreboard glowing. Hensley, 100 out of 100, legend confirmed. The crowd's silence was deafening, their heads turned, some slipping away, their shame a heavy burden. Her 10 shots were her voice, her father's legacy reborn, her strength undeniable, a quiet storm that reshaped the world of sniping, one bullseye at a time.